Hey everyone, my name is Santiago. I'm not going to edit this video because I consider it is a laborious work, and when it comes to edition it consumes a lot of time, right? So today I'm going to tell you how to tell a story, right? Anecdotes are short stories that happen to you or someone you know. I don't know if you remember when you were a child, when we were children, and our teachers or parents start to reading aloud stories, and they start with "Once upon a time," this common phrase. Once upon a time, blah blah blah. However, if you want to tell your story after someone has already spoken, you can say something like, that story reminds me of when, or that reminds me, or something similar happened to me, right? Now, how to tell a story? I reckon that the length of your story, it doesn't matter, but there are two things that are really important here. First, try to keep it grammatically simple so that it is easy to follow, and second, make it easy for the audience to understand by using linking words and sequencing words. Why? What do I mean by that? So when you use this kind of words, will help to our speech to has more coherence and cohesion, right? And for instance, linking word will be, or sequencing word will be, first of all, to begin with, once, previously, then, later on, before all of that, um, to conclude, to wrap up, to sum up, overall, in short, on the whole, or even though, although, therefore, because, however, all of those words will help you to sound more connected when it comes to tell your story, right? And now you're thinking, well, I know that. I already know how to tell my story, but which kind of tenses should I use? So we generally use past tenses when we are telling past events, right? So if you like to tell your story in a chronological order, you can use past present, simple present, right? If Also, you can use past continuous to describe activities in progress in your while you're describing your story. Whereas if you are if you are in my team, you are one of those don't like to who don't like to tell your story as in a chronological order after the other, you can use past perfect, right? And also, well, you can use past perfect to add more interest to your story by talking about events that happened previously, the events of your story. And well, we already know, once we already know which tenses, which past tense do you wanna use in your story, you can come up with your own story. Now, I'm going to tell one of many stories that I have related with sleeping. Who doesn't like to sleep, right? So, here we go. Once I pulled an all-nighter. Oof, I'm going to start again. Sorry about that. Once I pulled an all-nighter because I had been beating around the bush and the week exam was just around the corner. So, as you might think, that night I slept like just 3 hours, and when I woke up, my hair was totally struggling and messy. Therefore, I had to take a shower, brush my teeth, and get dressed. Right. Meanwhile, my industrious and liable parents were running to have everything prepared, everything done when I went down because I live in a house of 3 floors, so, and I slept on the third floor. So, um, but before all that, when I was getting dressing, I noticed that outside the weather was like frosty and wintry. So I I chose my warmest outfit and I got dressed. I'm going to tell you something. When I had to take two buses to arrive to the university. So when I in the first trip, it was everything okay. I didn't do soft, but in the second, I had to travel, stood up, and all of a sudden, I started to do soft, and and stood up by the way that somehow it's crazy to fall asleep stood up, right? So then I started after that I I started to nod off, like do this, and something embarrassing happened to me when I was doing this movement. A girl was in front of me, grabbing a bar to don't fall, and when I do this, I kiss her hand. So when I felt that, I woke up right away, and I stared at her, craved and blush, like crave and blush, and I apologized with her, and I stared at her, so she just showed her grin, like her smile, and she told me, "Don't worry." So overall, to sum up, what I can advise you, my advice is that you have to learn to use your time wisely, and yeah, try to use your time wisely and don't leave the stuff for the final days so that you won't be stressed you won't feel frustrated, and also you won't fall asleep on the Trasmis bus, right? I hope you like this video. Thank you so much. See you the next time. Bye bye.